Alex Turner floated carefully through the wrecked corridor of the space station. Broken lights flickered overhead, and wires hung from the walls like long, tangled vines. The air smelled metallic and dry, filled with the quiet hum of damaged systems. He pulled his jacket tighter and checked his communicator. No response. The station's distress signal had been weak and erratic, but it had been enough to pull him out from his cargo run. He paused near a shattered observation window. Outside, the stars glittered like tiny diamonds on black velvet. The planet below was unfamiliar, with swirling green clouds and a bright blue ocean. A shiver ran down Alex's spine. This was far from any charted route. "Hello? Anyone here?" he called softly. His voice echoed in the empty corridor. No answer came, only the soft hum of failing electronics. He stepped over a pile of debris and spotted something moving. At first, he thought it was a shadow. Then, a small figure emerged from behind a twisted metal panel. She was no taller than a child, with pale skin that shimmered faintly under the emergency lights. Her eyes glowed softly, almost like liquid silver, and she watched him cautiously. Alex froze. "Hey, it's okay," he said gently, holding up his hands. "I'm not going to hurt you." The girl took a small step back, hugging her knees to her chest. She made a soft, high-pitched sound, like a chirp, and her eyes darted nervously toward the hallway. Alex realized she wasn't human. Her hair was long and silver, her fingers unusually long and thin, tipped with soft, transparent nails. Bioluminescent patterns ran across her arms, pulsing faintly. She looked scared and alone. "My name is Alex," he said slowly, crouching to her level. "What's your name?" The girl didn't answer in words. Instead, she tilted her head and repeated the chirp, but this time it sounded almost like she was trying to mimic him. Alex noticed a small device hanging from her neck. It flickered with a soft light, and the sound came from it. She was communicating through the device. "I can understand you," Alex said quietly, touching the device gently. "Don't worry, I'll help you." The girl blinked slowly and stepped toward him, hesitant. Alex extended his hand, and after a moment, she took it. Her touch was soft, almost cold, but there was a quiet strength in it. They moved together through the corridor, Alex scanning the wreckage for any signs of life. That's when he heard a faint cry, soft but urgent. He froze again, listening. The sound came from a maintenance hatch nearby, partially covered by rubble. He ran to it, moving debris aside. Inside, wrapped in a thin blanket, was a human baby. The baby's eyes were wide with fear, but he immediately recognized the helplessness in the child. The infant's small hands reached out, grasping for comfort. "Oh no," Alex whispered, picking up the baby gently. "You're safe now. I've got you." The alien girl, Lyra, he decided to call her for now, watched him carefully. She made a soft, questioning noise, tilting her head. Alex looked down at her. "This is a human baby," he explained. "We have to protect him." Lyra reached out a small hand and touched the baby's blanket. Alex felt a slight warmth radiating from her touch. The baby gurgled softly, calm under her touch. Alex's curiosity piqued. Maybe she could help them survive. He stood, cradling the baby. "We need to get out of here," he said. "The station is not safe." The trio moved cautiously through the broken corridors. Alarms had long since died out, but Alex could hear the distant hum of alien drones patrolling outside. The station had not been abandoned by accident. Someone, or something, was hunting them. They reached the shuttle bay. The small craft had several scratches and dents, but it looked operational. Alex hurried to the cockpit, carefully placing the baby in a makeshift seat he fashioned from storage crates. Lyra climbed in beside him, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing more brightly. As he started the engines, the bay doors shuddered. Outside, he glimpsed the shadow of a drone passing by. It was tall, sleek, and completely alien. moving with terrifying speed. He gritted his teeth and focused on the controls. The shuttle lifted off, shaking as the engines roared to life. Alex kept the baby close, glancing at Lyra. She was studying the displays, her eyes scanning the alien signals with astonishing speed. "You understand that?" he asked in awe. Lyra chirped again, and the device on her neck blinked. Alex assumed she was reading the shuttle's sensors and mapping a route. He felt a strange sense of hope. Alone, he might have been hopeless, but with her, maybe they had a chance. The shuttle moved toward the planet's orbit. Outside, the atmosphere glowed with storms of green lightning. Alex had never seen anything like it. He kept the shuttle steady, whispering reassurances to the baby. "I know it's scary," he murmured, "but we'll be okay. I promise." Lyra reached out, gently resting a hand on the baby's small head. The infant cooed, comforted by her presence. Alex felt a rush of relief. He had no idea how or why this alien child had survived, but she was helping him protect the baby, and maybe even himself. Suddenly, the shuttle's alarm blared. Sensors detected multiple life forms approaching from the station. Drones were closing in, faster than he anticipated. Alex gritted his teeth and pulled the shuttle into a sharp maneuver, narrowly avoiding a collision with a piece of floating debris. Lyra's patterns glowed brighter, and she pointed to the nearest asteroid field. Alex followed her direction. "You've done this before, haven't you?" he asked. She chirped softly in response, as if to say yes. They entered the asteroid field, weaving between massive rocks. The drones followed, but the narrow passages slowed them. Alex focused on keeping the shuttle stable, glancing down at the baby every few seconds. The child's eyes were wide but calm, as if sensing the determination around him. After what felt like hours but was only minutes, they cleared the asteroid field. Alex allowed himself a brief moment to breathe. Lyra's glow dimmed slightly, a sign that she was relaxing. "We're not safe yet," Alex said, "but we've got a chance now." Lyra nodded, though she didn't speak in words. Alex realized that words were not always necessary. Trust and action mattered more. The baby yawned, finally drifting off to sleep in his makeshift seat. Alex looked at him and felt a protective surge. Whoever had abandoned this child had left him vulnerable, but now they had a chance. He glanced at Lyra, who seemed equally aware of the responsibility they carried. They needed supplies, shelter, and time to plan their next move. Alex knew the alien forces wouldn't give up easily. The station had been destroyed for a reason, and the drones were just the beginning. He would have to rely on Lyra's knowledge, the baby's resilience, and his own skills to survive. For the first time since leaving Earth, Alex felt the weight of true responsibility, not just for himself, but for two lives entirely dependent on him. And in that moment, he also felt hope. Humans had survived impossible odds before. Maybe, just maybe, this strange trio could too. As they drifted deeper into space, Alex allowed himself a small smile. The fight for survival had begun, but they were together now. That was enough, for the moment. Outside the shuttle, stars glittered like distant promises. And somewhere in the void, enemies were hunting. But Alex, Lyra, and the baby were not ready to give up. Not yet. And with that unspoken resolve, their journey into the unknown began. Alex Turner gripped the shuttle controls tightly as the small craft glided through the black expanse of space. Lyra sat beside him, her glowing patterns pulsing gently in rhythm with her quiet breathing. The baby slept in his makeshift seat, swaddled in the thin blanket Alex had found on the destroyed station. For a few minutes, there was a calm that made Alex almost forget the danger outside. Almost. The shuttle's sensors beeped suddenly, loud and sharp, pulling Alex's attention to the screen. Red dots appeared, moving fast, converging on their position. He felt his heart tighten. They found us, he whispered. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. She pressed her hand to the display, and a soft glow spread across her fingers. Alex realized she was analyzing the alien ships, predicting their path. She turned to him, pointing toward a cluster of small asteroids ahead. "Got it," Alex said, forcing himself to stay calm. He adjusted the shuttle's thrusters, weaving toward the asteroids. The red dots followed. Drones, small and agile, chased them relentlessly. Their weapons fired in bursts of bright energy that sizzled across the void. One shot grazed the shuttle's wing, sparking, but the hull held. Alex's hands shook slightly. He had done dangerous missions before, but nothing like this. Protecting a baby and a strange alien girl while running from enemies in deep space was something else entirely. He glanced at the sleeping child, then back at Lyra. She was tense, but focused. "They won't give up," Alex said. "We need a plan." Lyra chirped softly, tapping the controls. Alex watched in awe as she manipulated the shuttle's navigation system. She moved with precision and confidence, guiding them through the maze of asteroids. The drones followed, but with each sharp turn and sudden acceleration, they lost ground. Alex realized that Lyra wasn't just helping. She was keeping them alive. Her instincts, her knowledge of alien technology were unmatched, and the thought that she was doing all this for a baby she had never met made him respect her even more. Hours seemed to pass as they maneuvered through the asteroid field. Outside the shuttle, jagged rocks floated silently, shadows stretching across the stars. The alien drones, sleek and metallic, glimmered as they attempted to follow. One by one, Alex managed to shake them off using Lyra's guidance and careful flight maneuvers. Finally, they emerged from the asteroid field. Alex allowed himself a deep breath. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, calm and quiet for the moment. "Where to now?" he asked. Lyra tilted her head and chirped again. The device on her neck blinked. Alex studied the display. She had plotted a course toward a nearby planet, its surface marked with strange structures. "You know it?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "All right," Alex said. "Then that's our next stop." The shuttle descended toward the planet's surface. Alex kept his eyes on the controls, but he couldn't help stealing glances at Lyra. She sat quietly, almost meditative, her glowing patterns pulsing softly. There was something calming about her presence, something that gave him strength he didn't know he had. The planet was rocky, with jagged cliffs and deep canyons. The shuttle touched down in a small clearing, dust kicking up around them. Alex shut down the engines and exhaled. "Okay," he said, leaning back. "We need shelter, food, and water, and fast." Lyra pointed toward a nearby cave, its entrance dark and wide. Alex nodded. "Lead the way." They moved cautiously. Alex held the baby close, feeling the weight of responsibility. The infant stirred but didn't cry, sensing that he was safe for now. Lyra led them through narrow passages and over rocky terrain. Her glow lit the way, soft and steady. Inside the cave, Alex found signs of previous habitation. Charred remains of small fires, broken containers, and scattered tools suggested someone had been here before. It wasn't much, but it was a start. "Not bad," Alex said. "We can work with this." Lyra chirped, pointing toward a deeper part of the cave. Alex followed. There he found a small stream of clear water. Relief washed over him. He cleaned the baby's face with a cloth and let him drink a little water. Lyra watched closely, chirping softly. Alex realized she was communicating concern and approval at the same time. They set up a small area for rest. Alex gathered rocks and debris to create a barrier around their little space. Lyra helped, moving quickly and efficiently, using her alien strength and speed. It was strange but comforting to watch. Together, they created a small, safe space for the baby. As night fell, the cave became darker, but Alex didn't feel fear. He glanced at Lyra and smiled faintly. "We're not out of danger," he said. "But at least we're alive." Lyra chirped softly in agreement. The next day, Alex began exploring the planet's surface, looking for food and other supplies. Lyra stayed close, scanning for signs of danger. She pointed out edible plants and small animals he could safely catch. Alex realized that her knowledge went beyond survival. She understood the ecosystem, the threats, and the resources in ways he could barely grasp. While gathering food, Alex thought about how fragile their situation was. The alien drones were still out there, likely tracking them, and the baby needed constant care. Yet he felt a growing sense of connection with Lyra. She wasn't human, but she cared. She risked her safety to help them survive. That evening, as they returned to the cave, Alex noticed something strange. Lyra stopped suddenly, her glow intensifying. She pointed toward the sky. Alex looked up and saw distant lights moving in patterns. Ships, far larger than the drones they had encountered before. "They found us," Alex said quietly. "And these aren't scouts." Lyra's patterns pulsed faster. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He realized that the danger was greater than he had imagined. The drones were just the beginning. Something bigger, something more organized, was hunting them. Back in the cave, Alex sat with the baby in his arms. Lyra watched him, her expression unreadable but intense. Alex spoke softly. "We're going to have to be smart. We can't fight them head-on, not yet." Lyra chirped and tapped the ground, pointing toward another cave system deeper in the cliffs. Alex understood. She was suggesting they move again, find a safer place, somewhere they could prepare. Over the next few days, they traveled carefully, always staying alert. Alex learned to read Lyra's signals, understanding her subtle movements and sounds. The baby began to smile faintly when Lyra was near, as if he knew she was a friend. Alex marveled at the bond forming between the alien and the human child. One night, as they rested in a hidden cave, Lyra finally made a sound that Alex could understand. Through her device, she emitted tones that the shuttle had recorded. Alex listened, piecing together the meaning. "She says the ones chasing them are from a military faction," Alex whispered. "Not all aliens are enemies, but some are hunting humans for something." Lyra chirped again, confirming. Alex felt a shiver. The universe was bigger and more dangerous than he had ever imagined, but he also felt a spark of determination. They had survived so far, against impossible odds, and they would continue to survive. Over the following week, Alex and Lyra built a routine. Alex hunted small animals and gathered plants. Lyra helped him, teaching him tricks to stay hidden and safe. They shared moments of quiet companionship, watching the baby grow stronger and more curious. One day, Alex asked, "Lyra, why help us? You don't have to risk yourself." She looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting the dim light. She made a soft chirp and touched his shoulder. Alex understood. She had seen cruelty in the universe, and she chose to protect what was innocent. The baby, he realized, was not just a child. He was hope, and so was Lyra. As they settled in for the night, Alex felt a quiet resolve. The alien faction chasing them was powerful, but they had each other. They had skills, courage, and a reason to fight. And the baby was the reminder of why survival mattered. Outside the cave, stars shone like silent witnesses. The universe was dangerous, filled with enemies they did not yet fully understand. But Alex Turner, Lyra, and the baby were not helpless. Together, they had a chance. And in the darkness, their journey continued. Alex Turner wiped sweat from his brow as he and Lyra climbed the rocky slope leading away from their last hiding place. The baby slept soundly, wrapped securely in a blanket. Alex carried him carefully, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on his shoulders. Every step reminded him how fragile life was in this part of space, but also how strong they had become together. Lyra moved ahead of him with ease, her glowing patterns lighting the path. She seemed almost part of the rocks themselves, sliding and climbing with a grace that Alex could only admire. "Lead the way," he said quietly, as if speaking aloud would break some fragile spell of safety. Hours passed as they traversed narrow paths and jagged cliffs. The alien faction hunting them could be anywhere, and Alex knew he had to remain alert. He peeked over a ridge and saw a valley stretching out below. At first glance, it seemed empty, but then he noticed the ruins of small buildings scattered across the landscape. "Look," he whispered to Lyra. She came closer, chirping softly, and pointed to the ruins. Alex recognized the signs immediately. This was a human settlement, but it had been abandoned. Broken windows, toppled walls, and long-neglected fields showed that life had once flourished here. "Maybe we can stay there," Alex said, "at least for a while. We can rest and plan our next move." Lyra nodded. Alex felt a quiet relief. For the first time in days, he imagined a place where they could breathe without fear. As they entered the settlement, Alex noticed strange machines lying among the ruins. Some looked like old defense systems, others like generators that might still work. He crouched beside one, testing the controls. Sparks flew, and for a moment, the machine came alive with a low hum. "This could help us," he said, smiling faintly. Lyra chirped in agreement, her glow brightening. They found a small building with walls mostly intact and cleared out a space for the baby. Alex sat down, exhausted, while Lyra explored the surroundings. She moved carefully, scanning for dangers. Every now and then, she returned to Alex and the baby, ensuring they were safe. "We can use this as our base," Alex said, rubbing his eyes. "It's not much, but it's better than nothing." Lyra chirped, then pointed toward the mountains beyond the settlement. Alex followed her gaze. She seemed to suggest they could use the high ground for better safety and observation. He nodded. "Good idea," he said. "We'll make a lookout. That way, we'll know if anyone comes near." The next day, they worked together to repair the old defense systems. Alex rewired generators, fixed broken circuits, and tested weapon systems he barely understood. Lyra watched closely, offering small hints. Her alien knowledge made the process much faster than Alex could have done alone. "Thanks," he said quietly as she tapped a control panel. A small turret whirred to life, ready to defend them. Lyra chirped, a sound of approval, and Alex smiled. The baby cooed from his blanket, sensing the calm in the room. While working, Alex learned more about Lyra. She had been part of a peaceful alien faction that opposed the militaristic hunters chasing humans. She had escaped their grasp, hiding among the stars until she met him. Alex realized that she was brave, intelligent, and willing to risk everything to help the innocent. Lyra, in turn, seemed curious about humans. She watched Alex carefully, studying how he moved, how he worked, how he cared for the baby. He tried teaching her simple human phrases. She repeated them in her soft, chirping voice, her glowing patterns pulsing brighter when she succeeded. "Good job," Alex said one day, ruffling her hair gently. Lyra chirped happily, a small sound that made Alex laugh. For a moment, the fear and danger of the universe seemed far away, but the peace did not last long. One evening, while Alex was checking the perimeter of the settlement, he spotted movement in the distance. Shadows moved among the ruins. The alien drones were back, scanning the area. His heart pounded. and he ran back to the building. "Lyra! They're here!" he shouted. Lyra's glow flared brightly. She tapped the turret controls and the small defense systems hummed to life. Alex carried the baby to a safe corner, keeping them both low. Lyra moved to a vantage point, her eyes scanning the approaching enemies. The drones advanced cautiously, their sleek forms reflecting the last light of the setting sun. Alex held his breath, feeling the tension tighten like a rope around his chest. He could not afford mistakes, not with Lyra and the baby depending on him. Lyra chirped rapidly, and Alex realized she had spotted a weak point in the drone's formation. "Got it," he whispered, adjusting a turret toward the opening. The first drone stepped into range, and the automated system fired, hitting it with precision. Sparks flew, and the machine collapsed. The other drones hesitated, and Alex took a deep breath. He grabbed a handheld weapon, a relic from the old settlement, and prepared to fight if necessary. Lyra's glow pulsed faster, guiding him to vulnerable spots in the approaching drones. They moved together, a strange team of human and alien, defending their small base against overwhelming odds. The baby slept quietly, unaware of the danger but somehow comforted by the sense of protection around him. After a tense hour, the drones retreated, likely signaling their fleet. Alex exhaled heavily. "We survived again," he said, though his voice was tense. Lyra chirped softly and came to sit beside him. Alex realized that they were stronger together. Her alien abilities and his human resourcefulness had saved them. And the baby was their reason to keep going. The next morning, Alex began exploring further, hoping to find supplies and any clues about other humans. Lyra accompanied him, guiding him toward hidden caches and abandoned storage. They found food, water, and tools, enough to last them weeks if rationed carefully. While searching, Alex discovered old communication equipment. He tried repairing it, hoping to contact anyone nearby. Lyra helped, manipulating alien technology with ease. Together, they brought the system back online, though signals were faint and distorted. "Maybe we'll find someone," Alex said quietly, a small spark of hope in his voice. Lyra chirped softly, nodding. The baby stirred, sensing the excitement in Alex's tone. Over the next few days, they trained together. Alex taught Lyra basic human survival techniques, how to make traps, and how to find edible plants. Lyra taught Alex alien methods for moving silently, avoiding detection, and reading sensors. Each day, they grew more capable and more confident. The baby began to smile more often, reaching for Lyra's glowing hands and giggling softly. Alex marveled at the bond between them. The child seemed to sense that Lyra was a protector, a friend, and a guide. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Alex sat with Lyra, watching the sky turn red and gold. "We're going to need more than this," he said quietly. "These drones will keep coming, and something tells me they're not working alone." Lyra chirped and touched his shoulder. Her patterns pulsed steadily, as if to remind him that they could face anything together. Alex smiled faintly, feeling a surge of determination. He knew they had to find allies, other humans or friendly aliens, if they wanted to survive. The days turned into weeks. Alex and Lyra repaired more of the settlement, improved defenses, and prepared for the worst. They hunted together, foraged together, and watched over the baby together. Each day, the bond between them grew stronger. Alex often thought about Earth, about the life he had left behind. But he also realized that his future, and the future of the baby, was here, among the stars, with Lyra. They were a team, an unlikely family forged in the fire of survival. One night, Lyra approached Alex with a small device, chirping urgently. He looked at it and realized she had picked up signals from another alien faction. Friendly, she indicated. They were distant, but they could help. "This could be the break we need," Alex whispered. He felt hope stir in his chest. For the first time since escaping the station, he allowed himself to believe that survival was possible. Lyra chirped softly and touched the baby's blanket. Alex watched, understanding her silent message. They were not alone. Together, they had a chance to fight back, to survive, and maybe even to find allies who could help them in the battle ahead. As they settled in for the night, Alex held the baby close. Lyra sat beside them, her glow soft and comforting. Outside, the stars shone brightly, silent witnesses to their struggle. The universe was vast and dangerous, but they had each other. And in that quiet moment, Alex Turner knew one thing. They were not just surviving. They were preparing for something greater. The fight for survival was far from over, but with Lyra by his side and the baby to protect, he felt ready to face whatever came next. Alex Turner stood on the edge of the settlement, his eyes scanning the horizon. The sun was low, casting long shadows over the ruins. Lyra sat beside him, her glowing patterns pulsing softly in the dim light. The baby slept in the small shelter they had built, unaware of the danger closing in. Alex could feel it in his chest, a tension that would not go away. The drones had returned, and this time they were not alone. Shadows of larger ships appeared beyond the mountains, dark shapes moving with purpose. The alien fleet had found them. Lyra chirped softly and pointed toward the approaching ships. Alex nodded. He had anticipated this, but seeing it made his stomach tighten. They could not outrun this fleet. Their only chance was to fight, to defend the settlement as best they could. He ran back to the building where the baby slept and lifted him carefully. "We're going to be okay," he whispered, though his voice shook slightly. Lyra followed, moving quickly to a vantage point overlooking the settlement. Alex activated the automated turrets they had repaired. The machines hummed to life, targeting the first drones that crested the hill. Sparks flew as the energy blasts struck, and one of the drones exploded in a flash of light. "Good," Alex muttered. "Keep it up." Lyra chirped rapidly and tapped a control panel. The defense systems responded immediately, activating hidden traps and barriers around the settlement. Alex realized she had improved the setup far beyond what he had imagined. Her alien knowledge made the difference between life and death. The drones advanced, sleek and deadly, firing bursts of energy that left scorch marks on the ruins. Alex crouched behind a wall, the baby in his arms, and fired a handheld weapon at one of the approaching machines. Sparks flew as it hit, and the drone collapsed. Lyra moved to the high ground, her glow bright and steady. She pointed to weak spots in the enemy formation, guiding Alex to fire where it would cause the most damage. Together, they worked like a single unit, human and alien fighting side by side. Hours passed. The sky darkened, but the battle did not end. Larger ships loomed above, hovering silently and sending more drones to attack. Alex knew they could not hold them off forever. He had to think, had to find a way to turn the fight to their advantage. "Lyra, we need a trap," he said quietly. She chirped, understanding immediately. Her glow pulsed as she guided him to a narrow canyon near the settlement. If they could lure the drones into the canyon, the automated turrets and barriers would give them an advantage. Alex nodded. "Let's do it." He carried the baby to a safe spot inside a reinforced building, while Lyra positioned the traps. They moved quickly and quietly, their teamwork seamless. As the first group of drones entered the canyon, Alex activated the turrets remotely. Energy blasts struck from hidden positions, and drones fell one by one. The alien ships above hesitated, adjusting their strategy. Alex realized they were not expecting humans and an alien child to fight with such clever tactics. He felt a surge of confidence. They could win this fight if they stayed smart. Lyra chirped loudly and pointed to a group of drones trying to flank the settlement. Alex grabbed a portable weapon and ran along the ruins, taking careful shots at the approaching machines. Sparks flew with every hit, and a few drones fell, tumbling into craters and debris. The battle raged for hours, the settlement illuminated by flashes of energy. Alex's arms ached, his eyes burned, but he did not stop. Lyra moved with precision, guiding him, improving their defense, and keeping the baby safe. At one point, a large drone broke through their outer defenses, heading directly for the building where the baby was. Alex froze for a moment, panic rising. But Lyra acted immediately. She leaped forward faster than he could move and blocked the drone with a sharp, glowing energy shield she produced from her hands. The drone exploded on impact, throwing both of them backward. Alex scrambled to his feet, checking the baby. The child slept safely, oblivious to the danger around him. Lyra glowed faintly, exhausted but unharmed. Alex breathed a sigh of relief. "You saved him," he said quietly, awed. She chirped softly, nodding. He realized then that Lyra was not just an ally, she was family. The larger ships above began to fire. Beams of energy scorched the earth, knocking over walls and sending debris flying. Alex realized that their position was becoming critical. They could not withstand a direct assault. He had to force the enemy into the canyon trap completely. "Lyra, help me lure them in," he shouted. She chirped urgently and moved to the edge of the canyon, glowing brightly. Alex followed her signal, moving carefully, firing at drones to guide them. The drones took the bait, moving toward the canyon where the traps and turrets awaited. The plan worked. Drones fell into hidden pits, hit by automated turrets, or trapped by barriers Lyra had activated. The larger ships above grew frustrated, firing wildly, but the canyon funneled their drones into predictable paths. Hours of fighting took a toll. Alex's arms ached. Lyra's glow dimmed from exhaustion, and the settlement had suffered damage. But they were alive, and the baby was safe. As the sun rose, the remaining drones retreated. The larger ships hovered for a moment, then disappeared beyond the mountains. Alex fell to his knees, breathing heavily, holding the baby close. Lyra collapsed beside him, exhausted, but glowing faintly. "We did it," Alex whispered. "We survived." Lyra chirped softly, touching the baby's blanket. Alex realized that their victory was not just survival, it was hope. They had faced impossible odds and won through cleverness, courage, and teamwork. Over the next few days, Alex and Lyra repaired the settlement again. They cleared debris, reinforced walls, and checked the defense systems. The baby grew stronger, cooing and smiling, a symbol of life continuing even in the darkness of the universe. Alex thought about the alien faction chasing them. They had only defeated the drones, not the fleet. He knew the bigger fight was coming. But he also knew they were ready. Together, they could face anything. Lyra began teaching Alex more about alien technology, showing him how to improve sensors and traps. He watched and learned quickly, amazed by her knowledge. In return, Alex taught her human strategies, combining instinct with logic to plan their next moves. The bond between them grew stronger each day. Alex realized that the baby had brought them together, but survival and trust had made them a team. They depended on each other in ways that words could not describe. One evening, as the sun set, Alex looked out over the valley. He felt a quiet determination. The alien fleet was still out there, but they had proven they could fight back. Lyra sat beside him, her glow brightening in the dim light. The baby slept safely in the shelter, unaware of the vast dangers surrounding them. "We'll be ready," Alex said quietly. "No matter what comes next, we'll survive." Lyra chirped, touching his shoulder in agreement. Alex smiled faintly, feeling hope stir in his chest. Together, they had turned fear into strength. And as the stars began to shine above the valley, Alex Turner knew one thing. The battle was far from over, but they had survived today, and survival was the first step toward victory. Alex Turner stood at the edge of the settlement, looking at the distant horizon. The battle had ended, but the sky was still heavy with danger. The alien fleet that had sent the drones was still out there, waiting. He carried the baby carefully, feeling the weight of responsibility more than ever. Lyra's glow pulsed gently beside him, a calm presence in the quiet morning. "We can't stay here forever," Alex said softly. "They'll come back, stronger this time." Lyra chirped softly and pointed toward the mountains. Her patterns pulsed as if urging him to move. Alex nodded. She was right. Staying put would only make them easy targets. They had to leave, find allies, and prepare for the battles ahead. The next day, they began preparing the shuttle for departure. Alex repaired engines and checked navigation systems, while Lyra scanned for safe routes and possible threats. The baby sat in the corner, cooing and reaching for Lyra's glowing hand. Alex smiled faintly. Even in the shadow of danger, life continued. Hours later, the shuttle lifted off, leaving the damaged settlement behind. Alex piloted carefully, glancing at Lyra from time to time. She had mapped a course to a distant moon she had mentioned before. One rumored to harbor friendly alien factions. It was a long shot, but it was their only hope. As they traveled, Alex reflected on the events that had brought them here. He had discovered Lyra in the wreckage of a space station, found the abandoned baby, and fought off relentless enemies. They had survived together through clever tactics, courage, and trust. And now, the journey was only beginning. The first few days were quiet. Alex allowed himself to rest while Lyra monitored the sensors. The baby smiled faintly whenever Lyra was near, fascinated by her glowing patterns. Alex found himself growing more attached to both of them. They were his family now, in a universe that felt both cold and dangerous. But peace did not last long. On the fourth day, sensors detected movement ahead. Alex tensed. Red dots appeared on the screen, scouts from the alien fleet. They were still hunting. "We're not alone," Alex whispered. Lyra chirped, and her glow brightened. They would have to evade the scouts or face them in battle again. Alex adjusted the shuttle's course, weaving between asteroids and debris in a nearby belt. Lyra helped him identify blind spots, guiding him with glowing signals and chirps. They moved silently, carefully avoiding detection. One scout ship approached too quickly. Alex fired a few warning shots, hitting its sensors. The ship spun out of control and crashed into an asteroid. Lyra chirped in approval. The baby cooed at the flashes of light, unaware of the danger. For hours, they navigated the asteroid belt, avoiding other scouts and staying on course. Finally, they reached the edge of a gas giant's orbit. Lyra pointed toward a moon with rocky terrain and a faint glow in the distance. This was their destination. As they descended, Alex noticed signs of life on the moon. Small settlements, domes, and faint energy signatures suggested that they were not alone. Lyra's glow brightened and she chirped excitedly. Alex felt hope stir in his chest. Maybe they had found allies after all. The shuttle landed on a flat plateau near one of the settlements. Alex carried the baby out carefully while Lyra scanned for threats. The settlement seemed peaceful. Strange beings moved around, humanoid but with subtle alien features. They wore simple clothing and carried tools, not weapons. Alex approached cautiously. A small figure stepped forward, raising a hand in greeting. Lyra chirped, and the figure smiled. Alex realized that they had found the allies Lyra had mentioned before. "Hello," Alex said, holding the baby. "We come in peace. We need help." The figure nodded and gestured for them to follow. Alex carried the baby while Lyra floated beside him. They entered the settlement, marveling at the technology and the sense of community. It was unlike anything Alex had seen. Humans and aliens lived together, sharing resources and knowledge. Over the next few days, Alex and Lyra learned about the settlement. The inhabitants were part of a network of friendly aliens who opposed the militaristic faction hunting humans. They had hidden bases across the galaxy, helping survivors and sharing intelligence. Alex realized that with their help, they could fight back more effectively. Lyra introduced Alex to key members of the settlement. They shared knowledge of the enemy fleet, showing maps and sensor data. Alex absorbed everything, thinking about strategies, defenses, and ways to keep the baby safe. Lyra's guidance and insight were invaluable, and together they began planning. The baby became a symbol of hope for the settlement. His presence reminded everyone why survival mattered. He laughed and cooed, bringing smiles to both humans and aliens alike. Alex watched him, feeling pride and love. They had survived so far, but the baby made the struggle real, tangible, and urgent. One evening, Alex and Lyra stood on a hill overlooking the settlement. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the domes and buildings. Alex held the baby in his arms, feeling a sense of calm. "We've come a long way," he said softly. "But this is just the beginning." Lyra chirped, her glow steady. She seemed to understand perfectly. They had survived drones, fleets, and countless dangers. But the enemy was still out there, and the universe was vast. They would need courage, intelligence, and trust to continue. Over the next week, Alex trained with the Allies. He learned to use new weapons, repair advanced technology, and coordinate with alien forces. Lyra taught him more about their unique abilities, showing him ways to combine human ingenuity with alien skills. Together, they formed a small but capable team. The baby grew stronger each day. Alex marveled at his resilience. He could see sparks of intelligence, curiosity, and courage in the child's eyes. He realized that this small life had already changed everything. For him, for Lyra, and for the universe they were struggling to protect. One morning, sensors detected a distant fleet. It was smaller than before, but still dangerous. Alex looked at Lyra and the baby, determination in his eyes. "We're ready," he said. "We've learned, we've grown, and we have allies now. Whatever comes, we can face it together." Lyra chirped in agreement. The baby cooed, reaching for Alex's face. He smiled, feeling hope and resolve. They prepared the settlement's defenses, combining human tactics and alien technology. Turrets were placed, barriers strengthened, and early warning systems activated. Alex worked tirelessly, knowing that every improvement could save lives. Lyra moved among the defenses, guiding the team with precision and care. As night fell, the distant fleet approached. Red lights glimmered across space, moving with purpose. Alex climbed a ridge, holding the baby while observing the enemy. Lyra's glow brightened beside him, a reassuring presence. The fleet paused at the edge of the settlement's range. For a moment, there was silence. Then, one of the ships fired. Alex felt a rush of adrenaline, but he did not panic. He had trained, he had allies, and he had Lyra. Most importantly, he had the baby to protect. The first shots hit automated turrets, which responded immediately. Energy blasts lit the sky as drones and small ships approached. Alex fired carefully, targeting weaknesses in the enemy formation. Lyra guided him, glowing brightly, showing openings and weak spots. The battle was fierce. The enemy had advanced weapons, but Alex and the Allies had clever strategies, strong defenses, and the element of surprise. Drones were destroyed, ships disabled, and the fleet faltered. Hours passed. Exhaustion weighed on everyone, but they held their ground. Alex realized that this was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for hope. Every victory, no matter how small, strengthened their determination. Finally, the remaining enemy ships retreated. The settlement had survived, though it bore scars from the battle. Alex held the baby tightly, feeling relief and pride. Lyra sat beside him, exhausted but glowing faintly, a reminder of their shared strength. "We did it," Alex whispered. "We survived again." Lyra chirped softly, resting her hand on the baby's blanket. Alex watched them both, feeling a deep sense of connection. They were not just survivors. They were a family, united by courage, trust, and hope. Over the next few days, they repaired the settlement and prepared for the future. Alex trained more, learning to combine human skills with alien abilities. Lyra continued to teach him, and together they planned strategies to protect not only themselves, but other survivors across the galaxy. The baby grew stronger, laughing and cooing, a symbol of life continuing even in a dangerous universe. Alex marveled at the resilience of life, at the hope that it represented. He knew that as long as they had each other, they could face anything. One evening, Alex stood on the ridge looking at the stars. The universe was vast, full of dangers and mysteries, but he felt hope. Lyra sat beside him, glowing softly, and the baby slept peacefully in his arms. "This is just the beginning," Alex whispered. "The fight for survival has only just begun. But together, we can face whatever comes." Lyra chirped, her glow brightening, as if agreeing completely. Alex smiled faintly, feeling a sense of purpose and determination. They had survived impossible odds, formed bonds that transcended species, and found hope in the darkness. And as the stars shone above, Alex Turner knew one thing for certain. The journey ahead would be long, dangerous, and full of challenges. But with Lyra and the baby by his side, he was ready for anything. Together, they would continue the fight for survival, protecting each other and shaping their place in a vast and uncertain universe.